So there's a lot of stuff going on in the NBA right now, Rachel.
Okay.
You know how
there are.
I'm going to close this window while we're at it, just so we don't have city noise.
Dogs barking.
You know how like in like, you know, Any Given Sunday or like Miracle, you know, they go in the locker room, the coach gives a rousing speech.
Yep.
And the team rallies together. So the New York Knicks, right? They're basically like the NBA's Leafs, except this team is doing pretty well in the second round.
Right.
Series is tied 2-2 with the Indiana Pacers. You know, Pascal Siakam's own team. Pascal
Siakam versus OG Anunoby.
Yeah, the battle of the X's, as we like to say. Now, it's a pretty tight series, and they lost their last game. The New York Knicks, like there's a lot of guys injured. It's pretty tough, and so they needed a rousing speech to get them in the fighting mood.
Tell me like Stephen A. Smith did it.
So Fred Katz, who's a Knicks reporter, he reports that, you know, before the game, rousing speech was a Knicks player let loose a big fart in the locker room before Game 5, which brought the team together.
Oh my God.
So
that is like the inside the NBA panel if it were in a locker room. That's gas mathematics right there.
Can I tell you that, like, listen, that is a story. Like, I don't like to, you know, battle of the sexes type thing. You're a woman, I'm a guy. That is as guys being dudes as it gets.
Oh my God, yeah.
That would work for me. Like if we were down, things bad, and a teammate of mine just ripped a fart that was like the loudest thing I'd ever heard. That would, first of all, that would make everyone laugh. Like I'd be like, all right, let's do this. Let's win this game. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff.
There's a lot to unpack there that I don't think we should unpack.
Yeah. So, you know, I wanted to start the show on a light note, and what we're going to do is we're going to there are two relatively serious topics we have to talk about.
Yeah.
I think it's important I think we should hold those to the end.
Okay.
So we can get at least some stuff out, and then at the end sort of talk about these two serious topics. But let's start off with the fact that it looks like Craig Berube is going to be the Leafs' next coach. It looks like that, according to Elliot Friedman, he seems to be the guy. It seems like it's a matter of when, not if. Obviously, Todd McClellan, everyone saw the video of him at LAX going to Toronto. They're interviewing guys, but they want an established coach. Craig Berube is clearly an established coach. He has over 500 games in his career behind the bench. What do we think of this?
I'm not a fan, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've been pretty vocal about that.
Yeah, well, you and I have talked about it. I haven't said anything publicly, but like,
I record everything you say. So
awesome.
It's so if you've said something publicly, you just don't know it.
Okay, yeah. Canucks HR.
Yeah.
I think
that's me.
What I would say is this. I think obviously as a Stanley Cup,
mm-hmm.
outside of winning that cup, which by the way, he took over the team
mid-season.
Jordan Binnington went on the run of all runs.
But show me, my devil's advocate would be, show me a cup other than like maybe the Avs when they were just like so stacked. Show me a cup win where a team doesn't go on, or where a goalie doesn't go on a run of all runs.
No, but I'm saying like run of all runs is usually April to June. Mm-hmm. January to June is different, right? And so like the Blues were not a good team.
No.
Right? And they did this on the back of Binnington. And so if you remove that, he actually did not have all that much success in St. Louis. And if you watch St. Louis outside of those 6 months, which I believe, okay, you can't just like throw the baby out with the bathwater, but on the other side of that coin, that 6 months doesn't and shouldn't supersede the other few years where the Blues were god-awful and arguably had more talent on their roster.
Yeah.
And so I have some reservations here on just how good of a coach he is, because truly, had Binnington not gone on that run, he's not even sniffing this job. And that's my concern here, is I don't think he's chalked up. Like, do I think he's a good coach? I think he's a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that he's as good as everyone's making him out to be? Absolutely not. And I have some serious reservations. I didn't like the system St. Louis played. I liked how he held players accountable. I do think from a personality perspective, I'll say it like this. If they're bringing him in to be like the manager kind of situation, the people manager, I think it's a good hire.
That's what they're doing.
Then you got to have somebody else who's a systems guy that's going to come in. Like,
I think they will.
Honestly, I've heard Craig McTavish's name, which is a tad alarming. I'm not going to lie to you. But you want to fix your fucking power play? Hire Bruce Boudreau. He said the only assistant coaching job he would take is in Toronto. And no one's going to sit here and have an argument with me about Bruce Boudreau's ability to get offense out of his players. That's like the thing he is the best at. I just think if they're going to hire Berube to do the people stuff, I think that's fine. Mm-hmm. They need to surround him with other experience, but not just experience for the sake of experience. They need like guys who are systems guys.
They're hiring him to be Pat Quinn. Pat Quinn literally ran 4 lines. Like we didn't have data tracking back then, but what Pat Quinn did is he stood behind the bench, he chomped on gum, he
cigar at one point,
and dared the refs to call a penalty against his team, and then ran 4 lines.
I loved Pat.
And yeah, he was phenomenal. And the Leafs had their most successful post 1967 era under him and before them Pat Burns. But like Pat Quinn was, it just goes to show big Irish guys. Hire them.
I just think in today's day and age, that doesn't work
anymore.
And
so, but why I think they're going for this is they need to have an experienced guy with a track record. After Keefe, who was like literally as new as it gets, first job in the NHL, thrown in mid-season to replace the highest paid coach in the league, who just in the biggest market in the sport, who just had the most public firing that we've had from a coach until his next public firing that he had like 5 years later or whatever it was. And like when it comes to systems or whatever, I get it. Like what I will ask you, basically what I'll say is when it comes to systems, I'm gonna put a pin in that for a sec. But like at least where they're going right now, they want a guy who's won a cup. He's won a cup. You can talk about the merits about that if you want. I certainly will engage in that conversation with you as well because I have some reservations on that too. But they want a gruff, no nonsense, hold players accountable guy because clearly,
tick.
Exactly, because they obviously through exit interviews and basically through like an organizational audit that Keith Pelly clearly did when he came in. Like blue and white diseases back in fashion. It's back in season, baby.
I heard somebody invoke the Muskoka 5 the other day, and I wanted to shoot myself.
Can the Leafs get like 6 good players at once? So at least we buff it up from 5 because, geez Louise. But Craig Berube will not allow that to happen. Like even let's say the Leafs,
the Lou Lamoriello of bench bosses.
Like let's say for no reason.
Actually, honestly, I think that's Rod, but.
Yeah. And hey, all this can change if the Hurricanes get bounced and Tom Dundon in his frugal ways decides I don't want to like maybe this assistant that we have, I can promote him and he can be 80% of what Rod is for 35% of the price. Let's go there. And then who knows? Then MLSE comes and they're like, we'll give you $10 million a year to coach us. Like, but that hasn't happened yet. But there's a good chance, like let's say doomsday scenario, the Leafs don't move any of the core 4 out. All of them are back. I want to kill myself, but all of them are back. Do you think that when they're talking on the power play and someone goes, hey, some player, I want to move you off the half wall.
You're going to play behind the net.
Exactly. Do you think when that player inevitably goes no, do you think Craig Berube will be like, all right, okay, let's get your agent to scream at Ian Tulloch about it. Okay. No, Craig
Berube is going to be like, here's your option. You're going to play there or you're not going to play on the power play.
No, he's going to say, what the fuck did you just say to me, you little shit? Like
I could just see, I'm picturing Craig Berube's face being like, what did you just say?
Yeah, he's got this like, yeah. So I think that I also think he's a good motivator.
100%.
And I think that this team, for whatever reason, does need that. And as much as Keefe had moments, he like motivation was a thing that Keefe had to learn. And I remember this from covering him on the Marlies.
I'm not even sure he got all the way there.
I don't think he did either.
Because, like, did you see that video floating around of, like, Sheldon Keefe, and then it cut to, like, Craig Berube, who, like, walked in and was like,
oh, yeah.
roar!
Yeah, he walked in, he's like, we're going to get this shit done tonight. Like, fucking this happened.
Was like,
you're starting. Like, let's go. Keefe is like, just have fun out there, guys. Just like, it's easy breezy. Your entire legacy is on the line. Have some fun.
You watch a Rod Brindamore, like, post-game.
Rob Brindamore's like curling like 50, like 50s being like, you guys go out there, you kill them. You rip their throats out.
Here's a fun, I was talking to somebody about this. Like, there's blue and white disease is back. How do you have, let's say the Leafs hire Rod Brindamore in this fantasy line.
Like, yeah.
How do you have blue and white disease when your coach is benching more than you are?
You don't. I thought, okay, so I remember Rod Brindamore, in his introductory press conference, he talked about how much he could bench. Like in his intro,
so iconic,
he was like, I can bench like 325. Like in his introductory press conference,
he could bench me with one arm. Like
you weigh nothing to him. You're like
I'm a grocery bag.
Yeah, like there's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Terry Crews, who's a massive guy. Like Andy Samberg jumps in his arm. He's like, do I weigh anything to you? He's like, no, you're like a pair of grapes. You don't. That's you. But like. And I thought that's the corniest thing I've ever heard. Like what? Like this guy's like literally talking about how he can bench, like how much he can bench. And then I look at him like, nah, man, that guy like he can back it up. He's great. But like with Keefe, I remember on the Marlies, it was the playoff run after they won the Calder Cup, and they were down like 2-0 in a series, I think to the Checkers in like the conference final. And Adam Brooks had a really good game, and he came out and he talked. Adam Brooks, a name I haven't heard in a long time. Came out and he talked, and he's just like, yeah, we really played well. Like Kiefer came in there with a really big sort of motivational speech, and that was something that we haven't really heard from him before, and it really kind of galvanized us all together. And I'm like, really? He's been here for like 5 years? You've been here for like 3. You won a championship last year, and you haven't heard him come in and give a rousing speech ever? Like, that's weird. And so Craig Berube, he doesn't do that. So I can see how that works relatively well.
I think if you're hiring Craig Berube because you want a different tone and you want a guy that is going to get in guys' faces and hold them accountable and bring some, we'll say, some, what is the Brian Burke line?
Pugnacity.
Truculence, pugnacity, and
he was just.
No, there were 3, and I just can't.
I don't know. I'm going to say gumption.
Something like that. If you want that, that's Craig Berube.
Pestilence, I think it was.
It's
pestilence, pugnacity, and truculence. Or truculence, pugnacity, and pestilence. Something like that.
Something crazy, yeah. Or as Brad Tree Living says, snot. That's Craig Berube. But I think if you're doing that, you need to augment the staff with systems guys.
Why?
Because I did a full, evaluation of, I was in Vancouver, and, the St. Louis Blues play in the Western Conference. I had to do...
Yeah, big systems evaluation.
I had to do systems evaluations for every single team in the West, and I did St. Louis, and I'm like, I don't actually think they're very good systematically. And so I think if you can augment that, it could be a very good hire. But if you don't, then I think it's the wrong choice.
2 questions. They're relatively unrelated. Number 1, do you think Craig Berube's system is better than Sheldon Keefe's system?
No.
For what the Leafs want to accomplish?
No.
Okay, great. Number 2, did Kyle Dubas and or Sheldon Keefe, do they hate Bruce Boudreau? Is there a reason why the most obvious coaching hire in history has never happened?
Bruce wanted a bit of a break after Vancouver.
Yeah.
And there was a feeling, and not on Bruce's side, there was a feeling that bringing somebody like Bruce into the organization would be like looking over somebody's shoulder, and it's like, oh, we've just kind of hired your replacement, or whatever. But the choice to hire Guy Boucher over Bruce to run your power play was an objectively ridiculous one.
Well, first of all, hiring Guy Boucher to run anything offensive is insane.
So I think from that perspective, I do wonder if it was more an ego thing than anything else. That's my take on it.
Bruce isn't, you know him.
Yeah.
Bruce isn't gunning for another HC role, is he?
No, he wants a head coach role, but he also said, I'm willing to be an assistant coach in Toronto because I want to coach in Toronto. That's his thing, is he want, you could, people can say like whatever they want about like coaching and like your hometown and stuff like that. It just is different. It's if you haven't worked in the league, you don't get it. Like you just don't. And there's something about it. Like I tell you, full stop. I don't want to work in hockey anymore. But full stop.
Yeah, if the Leafs offered you a job, you take it. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, like
who knows at this point?
Yeah, considering some of the other stuff I have going on.
Yeah.
But like
No,
generally
I'm saying
speaking.
just considering
but like if some random team.
No, like the Columbus Blue Jackets or like the, I don't know, like
anybody.
Like Carolina Hurricanes or anyone, like if they're like, hey, you'd be like, nah. But like if the Leafs.
Well, yeah, because one wouldn't have to move.
Yeah, but two, the Leafs.
That's the team I love.
Yeah.
Like it just, and that's kind of one of those things where like Bruce is obviously towards the end of his career. He's 69 years old.
Nice.
And I think
the
generally
sex number for the sex haver.
Even if he isn't going to be a head coach again, he is an extremely valuable resource as an eye in the sky, as a coaching consultant. Like remember when they brought in Jacques Martin in Ottawa, and then like obviously ultimately they fired DJ. But
that's
like
what they thought was going to happen, I guess.
But generally speaking, if you bring in Bruce with the notion that like he is going to help your coaching staff with different things, I think there's something there.
Yeah. All right, Rachel, can the Hurricanes come back? Because here we are. They were down 3-1.
3-0.
Yeah, 3-0. And then 3-1. And then here they are. They stunned New York in Game 5 with 4 unanswered goals in the third period.
That was crazy.
Which was just like, it looked like they were down 1-0 going to the third. Looked like it was over. Boom, 4 goals, all unanswered.
Bang, bang, bang.
Bang, 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 bang. And then they also limited New York to 21 shots, which is, for a team like the New York Rangers,
experience Rod Brindamore hockey, baby.
Pretty gosh darn good. And really what it seems like is the thing that is maybe preventing them from launching this comeback is Freddie Anderson, who is now down to a .902 save percentage, which is not great. But this is a scrappy team. They are a bunch of jerks. They're very well coached. And as we've shown, they are able to pull sort of victory from the jaws of defeat. Do they have a chance to come back here?
I think there's always a chance if you're talking about Carolina, just because of the talent and the system that they play. Like, Carolina has the best system in the NHL.
Yeah.
Full stop. Just, that's it. Thanks for coming.
I don't understand.
If you gave Rod Brindamore the talent that other teams have, he'd have probably 2 cups already.
I don't understand why teams don't look at that and just copy it. Like, what is stopping them from looking at what Carolina does?
I think the buy-in, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult system to play. And it's, frankly, like, not as fun.
Yeah.
But you know what is fun?
Winning.
Right.
Although.
So I think there's always a chance with Carolina. There would be more of a chance if Igor Shesterkin wasn't on the other side. Yep. And so, like, I think it's probably like a 35-40% chance they come back, which a reverse sweep is really difficult to do.
Definitely.
There's a reason it only happens, I think, 5 or 6% of the time.
If that. Like, it's
very, very rare.
There've only been like 7 of them in history, haven't they? Like, at least after like World War II. Like,
World War II. So I think when you look at it, it's conceivable that they could come back because they've been playing really well. Mm-hmm. But man, like, you think Igor Shesterkin's going to give up 4 goals again? Probably not, right? Probably not.
Probably not. I mean,
but I could see this going 7, and then anything can happen.
The thing with this,
you can get a stupid bounce off a stanchion. You can get a ref being a bozo. You could get a freak injury. Chris Kreider may not play tonight.
Yeah,
that's
which is huge.
A problem, right? So I think there's any number of permutations that could occur. Mm-hmm. I'm glad we're getting more of this series because I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
What does this do to the, like, and I know we talked about this last episode too, but I'm fascinated by this because the Hurricanes went all in this year.
Yep.
They basically went away from, like,
they broke the status quo.
Yeah, they broke their status quo. They turned their back on their morals and they bought in on rentals or high price additions at the deadline. Getting Jake Gensel and Evgeny Kuznetsov at the deadline is huge. especially given like the where that team struggled, which was offensively. They obviously can do great things defensively. They
didn't really give up anything for Kuznetsov, but they gave up
a lot
solid package for Gensel.
But in prospects.
Yeah.
Like, which obviously that matters.
And that is something Tom Dundon historically has been like, no.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they're cheap, good players. Like Tom Dundon, he's a rich guy, but as most rich people are,
signing checks.
Exactly. They don't like to spend money. Tom Dundon's been very, very adamant about that. And
that's why Rod Brindamore doesn't have a contract yet.
Yeah. And so, but what I want to understand here, or at least talk about a little bit here, is like, let's say the Canes lose, right? They're out in the second round again. They just kind of threw everything at the wall at this one, and they didn't even make it as far as they did last year. What happens?
I don't know. It's tough to say, right? Because
how do we look at this team?
I think in talking to people around the game, it's kind of one of those situations where people are like, you can't chintz on your goaltending. Right? No matter what, like you look at it, you need to have a capable goalie. Right? Nobody's saying they got to be a Vezina winner. Mm-hmm. But like Bobrovsky took Florida to the finals last year.
Oh, yeah.
Psycho mode. Vegas was so good in front of Aiden Hill. And even Aiden
Hill had a Linsanity run too, man.
And Aiden Hill was absolutely fantastic
like
as well.
938.
Yeah, so you look at it, and I think at that point you kind of have to say, like, we have to have a goalie where we're not saying they got to be like UC Saros, Thatcher Demko, Connor Hellebuck, but they got to be capable of going on a 960 run, and Freddie Anderson is not that.
I don't get A, why they've never upgraded, or B, why they brought Anderson back. They brought everyone back.
Yeah,
Ranta
it was very confusing.
Anderson.
You like just let Kashetkov do like.
Yeah, they've been yo-yoing this kid who has shown up big in big moments for so long, and like the number, and for a team that is so good at like development, they're making the cardinal sin.
Yeah,
and they didn't even have an AHL affiliate this year to yo-yo him to.
Exactly.
So that made it even worse. Like they were like loaning guys to like the Syracuse Crunch and like ECHL teams and stuff. Like they have one now, the Chicago Wolves again. They got back together. But like it just seems like you're right. You cannot chintz on your goaltending. And this team they have just such a stellar top to bottom. They have such a stellar lineup.
Well, look at the other three teams in the East.
Yeah, it's
Swayman Olmark.
Yeah.
Bobrovsky.
Yeah.
Shesterkin.
Yeah.
Look at the teams out west.
Like Demko and goalie of the future, Silovs.
You fucked that up 3 times. She loves.
No one on fucking planet Earth has ever called him Shelovs.
Chris Cuthbert has every single game thus far.
Okay.
But you look at it, Jake Ottinger. That's a quality goalie. Thatcher Demko, obviously. Stuart Skinner is single-handedly sinking the Oilers at this point.
He's gonna.
The Oilers could have swept the series.
Yeah, he's gonna single-handedly end the McDavid-Draisaitl era.
Right, and then the only reason that the Avs are where they are is because Georgiev's gone pumpkin.
You know what I've noticed too, and I know this is an aside, but you know what I've noticed, because this Canucks and Oilers series from a media perspective, we talked about it last episode, has been fucking crazy.
Put your balls on the crest,
what?
Mike.
Okay, first of all, what's up with all the balls talk? Number one. Like, first of all, we have put your balls on the crest from the Edmonton Journal, and then Frank Seravalli comes out and says, Chris Knobloch, like, for going to Calvin Pickard, which, by the way, I watched that guy give up, like, I covered that guy giving up 10 goals in a playoff game in the AHL, like, 5 years ago, and now he's winning, like, crazy stuff.
I have a question.
Okay.
We can talk about putting our balls on the crest, but if you...
It's obviously a metaphorical statement, Rachel.
Step foot on the logo on a carpet...
Yeah, but...
It's sacrilege.
Are your balls on your feet?
I don't know.
No? So if you put... So you can put your feet...
But you can put your balls on the crest.
No, but don't put your feet on the logo.
Oh, but you can take out... So, okay, yes. So what happens?
So you can get down on your knees, or you can squat down, and you can gently rest your balls on the crest. And that's fine.
But if you
step on it, no, because
I'm gonna put my nutsack
on your fucking jersey crest. No, because I know you're not gonna do that, because Cops doesn't start till 4. So there you go. But and then Frank Seravalli going like, Chris,
fix that fucking drywall now. That is one of the best movie scenes in the history. Like, it's Shark Week!
Brennan, today I saw my son fight with a bicycle. Use a bicycle as a weapon. You yelled rape at the top of your lungs. Like, seriously? I thought something was going to happen. He had this crazy look in his eyes, and at one point he said, "Let's get it on."
I am not a raper.
I'm so not a raper. Anyway.
He's like, that's it. You're both grounded for a week.
You will fix the fucking drywall now. I love that. It's like, you better keep your liver spotted hands off my beautiful mother, or I'm going to shove one of those hearing devices so far up your ass that the only thing you'll be able to hear is your small intestine as it produces shit.
That's like that 10 minutes of cinema is beautiful. That's worth an Oscar on its own.
Yeah, boats and hoes. It's incredible. All right. Anyway, Frank Cervalli saying Chris Knobloch has balls the size of like oil drums or something. Lots of balls talk, but
there's a lot of balls happening here. A lot of balls in the air.
What I haven't noticed from any Edmonton people, any Edmonton media members at all, when talking about this series, when talking about Stuart Skinner dropping the ball, is the fact that Ken Holland gave $25 million.
Talking about the ball.
Oh, balls, yeah, drop the balls. But what no one has mentioned is the fact that we wouldn't have to be talking about any of this goaltending stuff, if the guy that Ken Holland gave $25 million to be the starter to, like basically 18 months ago, or 24 months ago, if he was capable of playing and not being a black ace that's not even practicing with the team.
Yeah.
Like,
not great.
Like Jack Campbell's a nice guy, but like we wouldn't be having any of this conversation about Stuart Skinner sinking sinking basically the Mick Draisaitl era, and like we wouldn't be having any conversation about whether Calvin Pickard should be starting in Game 6 or whether
if Jack Campbell
who's making $5.5 million a year, $5 million a year, is like capable of not being a black ace.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's crazy. All right, so I guess we're going to tie one of the serious topics in here, because you can't really talk about Avs stars without the fact that the Avs lost their leading goal scorer and the playoffs leading goal scorer in Valeri Nichushkin, who was placed in stage 3 of the player assistance program. And doing so means that he is being suspended without pay for 6 months and has to apply for reinstatement. Anytime you talk about addiction, and anytime addiction, which this clearly is, factors in, or allegedly is, but it sure seems like that, it's a disease. And we just hope that he gets the help that he needs, the help and the peace that he needs, because this is a difficult situation.
I think my only issue with how this is played out is I don't think suspending anybody without pay. Suspending with pay, fine. Obviously should come off the salary cap, but I don't think it is conducive to helping somebody through
definitely not
addiction to suspend them without pay. And like, yeah, I get it. He's been making millions of dollars and like whatever. That's not the fucking point here. And first of all, I don't think a lot of people realize this. You don't get paid in the playoffs.
No, you don't.
So he's really only missing out on the first like 10 games of next season.
Well, if he gets reinstated.
So you do get reinstated after stage 3 as long as you go like if you complete the steps.
Will he though?
And that's the thing is like you don't know, right?
He's already been through this twice, I believe.
So he's been in stage 1, stage 2, and now this is stage 3. So stage 2 and 3 are forced upon you by the PA. Stage 1, you can voluntarily enter. Stage 2 and 3, you cannot.
Yeah.
So you look at somebody like Sam Girard, who voluntarily entered, not for addiction, but for
mental health reasons.
Depression.
Yeah.
Got his help.
Oliver Shillington, same thing.
Exactly. Like, and came out on the other side, both of them. Absolutely fantastic stories. Connor Ingram went in as well, and he just won the
Masterton, which is fantastic.
Absolutely great, right? That's obviously different type of addiction. But I think with Nichushkin, some of the details that I've been hearing are not good. And at the end of the day, I think vilifying somebody is not a conducive way to help them.
And cutting off their... Like, the thing is, too, is like when it comes to drug addicts, like, you know what costs a lot of money?
Drugs.
Yeah. And I don't know if they thought that by taking away his pay, they'd stop him from spending money on drugs. No, it means that he's going to spend the money that he has saved that would keep him like it's.
I just don't like the vilification of addiction. Not even just here, but generally in society. I think it's terrible.
This is a specific sort of example of that. Like,
you can pay him through, and I'm wondering if it's like an insurance issue where they're like, we're not paying for that, so they don't really have a choice but to suspend without pay. But the reality is,
that might be it.
Like, I just don't like how the players who are dealing with this, and if we're being honest here, like, there are more players in the NHL that do those types of drugs than not. And it's a matter of, like, if it becomes a problem. Like,
and clearly
it has become a problem in this situation.
In multiple situations. Like,
yeah. It
has also taken him away from
2 playoff runs now.
In the middle, unannounced, of 2 playoff runs.
So, and this is the other thing, and obviously much less important.
Yes.
Is he done with the Avs?
I think so.
I think he's, because like guys like Nathan McKinnon doesn't even let you eat pasta.
Yeah. Like and
did you see what Jack Johnson said?
Oh yeah, but I'm not taking Jack Johnson's opinion on
no
nuance matters seriously.
No, but what I'm saying is like, if Jack's not the only guy that feels that way. Is sort of what I'm getting at there. And so I just think generally speaking, it's a really unfortunate situation. Obviously, you hope he gets the help that he needs.
Yeah.
And I hope that there's maybe a different way to approach this from a suspension without pay perspective.
This is a CBA issue.
Yeah.
We now have probably the most active and fiercely players' rights focused
PA
director in Marty Walsh. I have to imagine this is going to be a big point of issue whenever the next CBA comes up. Like whenever those next negotiations,
like the Eichel neck surgery situation is going to come up. This probably is going to come up.
This is going to be a big one. I mean, they will try and figure. They will, like, the NHL likely will try and do something about LTIR. He'll probably push back on that. But like, this is a big thing where it's like, we need to reevaluate the stages, because also, I'm not sure if you remember this, but Scott Darling went on the What Chaos podcast with, Pete Blackburn and everything. And they asked him about the player assistance program. They basically teed it up for him to like praise them. And Scott Darling has been in the player assistance program multiple times. He's dealt with addiction issues himself and mental health issues himself. And they basically teed it up to go like, yeah, but it's great to see everyone going in. This must be a good thing. And he went, they basically said, what's your advice? And he'd be like, to any player who's thinking of going into the player assistance program, don't.
Yeah, because it's not good.
He's like, because they will hold that over you.
Yep.
And like, you can't.
It's not good. Like, we had conversations about it both when I was in New Jersey and in Vancouver, and I just don't like how it's set up. Is kind of what I'm getting at here.
I think for mental health, it's better. I think
you still get vilified.
You definitely do,
because then you
become a risk.
There was a situation where a player wanted to go into the program for mental illness, and somebody within the organization was like, "You're so fucking soft," and it's like, "Are you?"
Well, that's just like, that's hockey. That sucks. That's what they've been doing forever.
It's just the vilification of all of this is just gross to me.
And so,
I hate it.
And obviously, like you said, it is far and away like the least of the priorities here when talking about this. But like, yeah, he's done with the Avs. Like, if you're an Avs teammate, you cannot trust this guy. He helped you win a cup. He was a big reason why you won a cup.
And back-to-back playoffs now, he's let you down.
Back-to-back playoffs in the middle of a series. He is just, in a series he's been performing well, and he's just being yanked out. And they've like, if I'm a player and I have a singular focus, which is to win.
Yeah. And a lot of these guys, like, think about a guy like Zach Parise.
Yeah, this is his
last best
chance.
Shot at the cup.
No, but this is, like, he has said, like, I'm done after this.
Yeah, and it's his best shot.
Yeah. Like I'm never trusting this guy again.
No chance.
And it sucks. Like, because, like I said, addiction is a disease. And although we can't, negate or sort of like, consequences or sort of like take responsibility.
You are in charge of your own actions. You are in charge of the choices that you make. And yes, addiction is a disease, but it starts with a choice. Mm-hmm. You're not born addicted.
You do have genes that pass down.
Right.
They make it easier for you. But it's,
yes.
and
That's why people who have alcoholism in their family tend not to drink.
And another thing too with that is like we don't know the circumstances around this. Like we've heard things, but we don't know.
But at the end of the day, we want a person to get healthy, and we want an assistance program to get better.
And that's what Jared Bednar basically said. He struck, like, if you want to go listen back to what he said, that he struck the perfect chord with that. He's basically like, listen, like at the end of the day, I've been around Val as a human, and I just hope that he gets peace. You know?
And that's what matters here.
Exactly.
Winning a Stanley Cup, obviously his teammates have every right to be disappointed, but I think at the end of the day, you have to put the person before the cup.
And he, like, I hope he gets better for him, for
his family
and all that, and also he's so fucking good.
Choo choo train.
Yeah, like he is, like when Valeri Nichushkin is healthy and when he is like on all cylinders, he is an absolute treat to watch, and I hope we get to see that again, whether it's in an Avs jersey or otherwise. Speaking of the Avs, though, they went down 3-1. Looked pretty dicey, and they fought back. They had to deal with this Valeri Nichushkin situation basically like hours before puck drop. And they came out and they clawed their way back. They dropped 5 goals on 27 shots on the Dallas Stars to make it 3-2. You think you're cooked. They're getting they now have Devin Taves back, at least healthy enough to play again. They really sort of shook Jake Ottinger. He had his worst game of the playoffs. What are we thinking about that situation?
I think they're in tough.
Yeah.
I'm not writing off Nathan MacKinnon.
No, I'm not.
They're in tough, but I'm not writing off Nathan MacKinnon. You do that at your own peril.
I'm not writing off Cale Makar. I'm not writing off Mikko Rantanen. Like they have.
No, but specifically, Nathan MacKinnon is a psycho.
They have fucking gamers. Like they have guys like I really like Dallas. We talked about how they were probably top to bottom the deepest team in the league.
Yep.
Definitely top to bottom the deepest team left in the playoffs.
For sure.
They're very well coached. They're incredibly GM'd.
Their power play goal last night was arguably the best power play zone entry I've ever seen in my life.
Like they're phenomenal. It
was phenomenal.
Now let me ask you, Rachel, do they drop it, go up the middle, and then dish it to John Tavares, the slowest player on the ice every time they go in? Okay, cool. Do you think Craig Berube would do that?
I don't think Craig Berube is running the power play.
Okay, good. Well, there you go. Those are 2 promising answers. But these guys they've been there. Like they like I can go through the list of guys on the Avs who get shit done. Like Nathan MacKinnon, the game's online, he gets shit done.
Well,
Rantanen gets shit done. Makar gets shit done. Taves gets shit done.
Hang on a minute here.
Andrew Cogliano.
We talked about McDavid and Draisaitl being tied for 3rd all time in playoff points per game. Makar, Rantanen, and MacKinnon are all in the top 15.
Yeah, and one of those is a defenseman.
Outrageous.
One of those players you mentioned is a defenseman.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's possible.
Where's Mitch Marner?
Below David Kampf.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Rachel, I have a fun game I want to play.
Okay.
Speaking of Mitch Marner, and all you 16-year-olds with 4 teams in your bio, listen up. Hope you don't block us.
I don't care.
So the time to move on from Mitch Marner was last summer. Before his no movement clause kicked in, you could have said, Mitch, get ready to learn Columbusese, buddy. Get ready to learn
non-Torontoese.
Anywhere other than here-ese, buddy. And instead, you waited. Now he's a no move clause. Now you have to deal with him and his camp and Rocket Security to facilitate a trade. Other teams would likely, if they ever are going to move on from a player, would like to prevent that situation. It's
a cautionary tale.
It's better to sell high and sell early than it is to sell at the lowest thing of your value. So Cap Friendly came up with a tweet today, which is players that are about to get trade protection on July 1st, set to get trade protection on July 1st, whether it's a no movement clause, no trade clause, or a modified no move clause. I will obviously specify when we do that. And I want to go through you, and we can do this back together. And we can talk about whether or not the team of the player that is about to get trade protection on July 1st, if they should trade that player before they get that protection in order to maximize their value.
All right.
So let's do it. And obviously some of these will be very obvious. Some of these will be interesting. And also a couple of the names that are getting certain clauses are hilarious. Anyway,
I haven't seen this list yet, so we're doing rapid fire.
Yeah. Charlie McAvoy.
No.
Yeah, no. So he shouldn't be traded. Sebastian Aho.
Also no.
Devin Taves.
No.
These are for no move clauses, by the way.
Yeah.
Rupe Hintz.
No.
Gustav Forsling.
No.
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Buy him out.
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
I'm taking option C.
You can buy. Okay, this might be a dumb question. You can buy out a guy who's got no move clause, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So yeah, no. Pierre-Luc Dubois, by the way, his no move clause kicks in on July 1st.
I'd buy him out.
Incredible. Kirill Kaprizov.
No.
Joel Eriksson Ek.
No.
Although good player, no move clause, hilarious.
Yeah, I probably would have gone an MTC there.
Obviously, Ilya Sorokin.
Probably not.
Now there are two interesting players here.
Okay.
Jesper Bratt.
No.
Okay. Timo Meyer.
Ooh, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'd look at it.
Yeah. Okay, but is the team taking that though?
Well, I think
because that's a big deal. It's a long deal. And now, and they are now.
What if it's Calgary, in a Markstrom trade?
Well, that'd be perfect.
That's what I'm saying. I'd evaluate that.
All right, now here's to a no trade clause, so a full no trade clause.
Okay.
Clayton Keller.
No.
Ross Colton.
What?
Ross Colton is a no trade clause.
Why?
Dude, they gave Miles Wood a 6-year deal.
That's true.
And he's coming up, by the way.
Oh, gee. Oh, what?
You'll see. Keep going.
Okay, I'd consider it.
Consider Ross Colton?
Yep.
Okay. Nick Seeler.
What?
Full no trade. Nick Seeler.
Yeah, I would
Nick
trade.
Seeler, full no trade. You also just signed an extension. Like, that's why it kicks in July 1st.
Holy fuck.
All right, Vince Dunn.
No.
Eric Cernak. Or Chernak.
Yes.
You trade Eric Chernak.
Yep.
Okay. Don't want to make the same Artur Shilov's mistake there. Luba Mikhail Sergachev.
No.
Okay. Now here's going into modified no trade clause.
This is usually a 10-team no trade list.
Anything that ranges in this list from 5 to 22. Either one.
Is oddly specific.
Yeah, I know. Very weird. That's literally, you know what that is? That's Canada and Arizona, and probably Arizona.
Canada, Arizona, Buffalo, yeah.
Well, Canada's.
Buffalo's not.
Oh, they have 30. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was like, oh, we have 32 teams. I forgot. Anyway,
or it could be Canada, California.
Jordan Greenway. He's got an 8-team no trade clause.
What?
On Buffalo. Kicks in.
Yeah,
July
I'd
1st.
trade him.
Tage Thompson, 5-team no trade. How the heck did he?
How does he have less? Okay.
I know. That's crazy. Rasmus Anderson, 6-team.
I'd look to move him.
Okay. Sam Girard, 9-team.
Nope.
Miles Wood, 6-team.
That's obnoxious.
This one actually starts on June 15th, 2024. I don't know why, but that's when it kicks in. Interesting.
So they're not going to be able to trade him because the cup final's not going to be done.
It's not like they're going to make it. Anyway. DeBrincat, 16, no team.
No.
Okay. Adrian Kempe,
No.
10-team no trade. Nico Hischier, 10-team no trade.
No.
John Marino, 8-team no trade.
Yep.
You trade him.
Yeah.
Interesting. Where would you trade him to?
I don't know. Not my team.
You don't like John Marino,
No, he was fucking horrendous last year.
but he was really good the year before.
Oh, that's great. Well, he was
Okay,
fucking
all right,
horrendous,
all
so
right, all right. Jonas Siegenthaler, 10-team.
I'd look at it.
Thomas Chabot, 10-team.
Yep.
Okay, Kyle Connor, 10-team.
Nope.
Matt Barzal, 22-team. And then the final one, and this is great. Tanner Jeannot, 16-team no trade list.
Julian? What are you doing? Yes, of course I'd actually buy him out, but alas. Okay.
16-team
Yikes.
for Tanner Jeannot
Healthy scratch.
in the playoffs. Guy who you traded a second, a third,
Not
fourth,
nice.
a fifth, I believe a sixth as well, and Cal Foot, who is dead to us now.
You think maybe there might be something to that?
That is pretty wild to me But anyway, those are the players that are getting trade protection kicking in other than Miles Wood on July 1st. And boy, oh boy.
I'd buy 2 of them out.
You'd buy Dubois.
Yeah.
And you would buy Jeannot.
Yeah.
Now, Jeannot only has like a year left or something. Like it's not much.
Well, then you're not going to trade him. Then you just ride it out at that point.
Yeah. And he's not making, I think, isn't he making like 2.84 or something? Like he's not making a ton. But Dubois is the one you buy out. Dubois would only count.
You got to buy that out.
And I believe, isn't it?
Depends. Like, it depends when the season ends because of when his birthday is. If the season ends before his 25th birthday, then I'd buy him out. If it ends after, I would not. So the LA Kings have already said they're not buying him out. But I think they're silly.
I also like they can say that because they got asked that point blank, and they're not going to say like even like if you keep a guy, even if you go and you say like yeah we're considering all options, that guy's gonna be like what the hell man, you're considering buying me out? Like
yeah I am.
Yeah,
did you watch yourself this year?
It's Pierre-Luc Dubois. You think he's gonna take that very well?
I'm not. I would if I were Rob Blake. I'd be like I'm not particularly concerned about his feelings.
It's a good point. If the season ends where he's a third instead of 2/3 on the cap,
I buy him out.
Boom, just like that. All right, now before we wrap up here, just want to take some time to mourn the loss of like a Titan. Like we talked about Bob Cole, how he's the voice of our childhood. Darren Dutchyshen, who passed away today at the age of 57, which is just so like your dad is older than that, I'm assuming.
My mom's 57.
Yeah, my father's also older than that. Like that is too young to go. He was if there was a secondary voice of at least
you woke up every morning, you turn on SportsCenter.
To Darren Dutchyshen saying bang.
Bang.
Like
back of the net.
Like he would do
or the Renteria gonorrhea. That was one of the funniest things that I've ever heard in my life.
Darren Dutchyshen is such a pro. He had this like 3-sentence sort of cadence down where like when he did highlights where he'd be like Alex Ovechkin or like 4 sentences. Alex Ovechkin takes to the net, winds up, bang, 3-1. Like that's how he would do it.
Or the Caps go on a power play. You know where this is going. Puck comes across to Ovechkin, bang, back of the net.
It's 4-2. Like it goes on, and then another one is that he like.
What was the other? Man on, ball gone.
A lesser
them biceps, man.
Yeah. Well, first of all, that guy could bench. Like we talked about Rob Brindamore benching anybody. So could Darren Dutchyshen.
Oh.
But I don't think any other broadcaster could be standing about as close to Pierre Maguire's face as I am to this mic.
Oh,
and have Pierre Maguire make a dick joke to him, unprompted, unscripted, on camera, and have him ride it out as smoothly and as cleanly as he did. Like Darren, he was a Titan. Like he was routinely known as the nicest guy around. He really was.
Well, so Darren was. They lived in like around where I did. Mm-hmm. So like growing up, like I hung out with his daughter, and I remember the first time I met him, I was like, "Yo, that's your dad."
Yeah.
Because it was always just like, "Oh, what's up, Paige?" and like whatever. And then I remember it wasn't because we had like mutual friends, and that's how we met. And eventually, I figured out her last name was Dutchyshen. And I was like, wait, what? I remember the first time I met him, I was like, yo, that guy is, like, he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
SportsCenter in the morning, depending on what channel it was, it was either Jay and Dan, or it was Darren and Jen.
It depends on what time they would do them. Like, Jay and Dan would do, like, late night, and then if it would get
it depends what role you had, or, like, whatever.
But holy, like...
Nobody did SportsCenter like him.
Yeah, him and Jennifer Hedger were just like they were the.
And he would go out of his way to go to the College of Sport Media, to go to RTA, to talk to like if you talk to people like Julia Tosheri, Daniel Zarkowski, Corwin McCallum, like all those younger people at TSN, they will tell you like the first time they were on TV. They were, like, shitting themselves.
But he lifts people
and
up.
Then Darren Dutchyshen's like, nah, this is the greatest job ever. Let's just have some fun.
Yeah.
And, like, you immediately feel better about yourself. But he was also, like, I remember when I was interviewing at TSN, and I heard his voice in the hall, and I hadn't seen him in a couple of years, and I just poked my head out. And it was just his energy, like, how he was on TV, that's how he was in the backyard. He was just that guy. And, like, every single time something like this happens, I'm like, why does cancer always have to attack like those fucking people?
The good people.
Like, cancer never comes after like the assholes. It never goes after the bad people. Yeah. And when people are like, oh, cancer doesn't discriminate. Yeah, it does.
Because all the good people I know are dying from cancer.
Yeah. And I'm tired of it. I've had it with that. And it's just, honestly, like, Sports Center, even though like, I obviously don't watch it as much anymore, but like, it's not the same. Not even close. So yeah, just a tight industry. Like, really was sad. Like, yeah. I had heard through my friend group that he wasn't doing very well, but like, I was like, oh, like, you know what? You never know, because he's a strong guy. He's like really into health and stuff like that. And it seemed
like he had beaten it before too. At least
yeah,
it
like,
seemed like it. Like,
he had gotten it to the point where it was like it was the type of cancer where it was never going to be in remission, but like you were going to be able to like keep it at bay
and keep going. Yeah.
And when he signed off at Christmas, I didn't realize that
last time
that was going to be it, and that now thinking back to it, like that hurts, man. And like he's got kids that are our age. Like, Paige is our age. And it's just, it is genuinely awful.
So,
like,
yeah.
It wrecked my day.
Hug your loved ones. Let them know that they matter to you, because who knows what can happen. But, yeah, we just wanted to uplift that, because Darren Dutchyshen lifted up so many people.
Look at Twitter today.
Yeah.
You should strive to live a life where people talk about you the way people are talking about Dutchy today.
It's
seriously.
Yeah, the world, lost a light. So, on that note, we will leave it here. You can obviously subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of that. We're on any podcatcher under the sun, so make sure to check it out there. Write us a review, leave us a rating, that'd be great. And then also donate to Jumpstart, a charity of choice. Jumpstart helps economically disadvantaged kids play team sports, which is a cause that's near and dear to Rachel and I's hearts. So all of the links and everything will be in the description below. If you can, we would urge you to donate. And yeah, we will see you next week.